everybody, it's Austin Ward for Lettermen Row, back with a BuckIQ here as the season finally comes close for Ohio State. The opener Saturday against Florida Atlantic. We're finally going to have some new footage to break down. More importantly, we finally have Mike Doss in the building. The 1, 2, 3-time All-American is in the building. So you know we're going to talk. I wanted to just do straight DBs, but we can't. We still don't know about this bullet position. I feel like Mike Doss back in that day, maybe that would have been a fit for this guy. I don't know, throwing around those hits and grabbing some picks.
We know it's a physical position. You know that the bullet's going to blitz. You know, we haven't seen it live and from our perspective, but you know, we're excited. I'm excited about the opportunity to see what this position brings. Brendon White got thrust into that role, and you know, he's a up tempo, aggressive kind of player. Can make some plays for us. Great in open field tackling. And we want to see what it's all about.
I know that you've had an eye on these guys and that tradition, that DBU and the BIA for these guys. As someone who's been through it, last year was probably tough for you as we expand from the bullet just to that secondary as a whole. But what gives you some confidence that they can get back to that standard? I know you've got a couple guys you've got your eye on.
Well, truthfully, I like the growth. You know, Coach Jeff Hafley has come in and, you know, he's corralled these kids and pulled them together, and he's teaching, you know, strong technique and belief in the technique, why it works, and they're going out and practicing, you know, these things every day. And as I've watched in several practices, they're believing. And they're all in one room, as you know, it's been stated. You know, all the secondaries in one room now, communicating, going through calls, talking through everything. They bring the linebackers in, kind of what we did back in '02. We would sit down, you know, as a collective back seven, and we would make calls and review where we would be at, and letting each other know where your support is, and go out and it's easier to make plays when you can trust that.
I know you filled up the notebook. You're like me out there when I go watch practice. Who flashed for you so far in August?
Oh man, I mean, the big thing is, you know, Jeff Okudah. I mean, he's a guy that, you know, was a 5-star recruit. You know, he's out of Texas. You know, the potential's there. He had 8 PBUs for us. If it wasn't for Brendon White's big game in the Rose Bowl, he probably would have been the MVP.
Sure.
He has a lot of talent and tremendous upside. I think the most versatile player would be Shaun Wade. 6 foot and a quarter, $195. He can play nickel, safety, corner, and he'll probably be that, you know, that third DB, you know, guarding that slot when we kind of stay in the base look. Excited to see what he can do. He has a knack for the ball, and the kid's only played in 17 games.
Right.
I mean, you just think how much more upside that he has.
There's a lot there.
There's a lot there. And Brendon White, you know, he's only had, you know, 18 games, one more than Wade, but, you know, now he's moving to that new bullet role. Well, let's see how he embraces that. Jordan Fuller, academic All-American, you know, 3.8 GPA. He's a smart guy back there in center field, made a lot of plays over his career. I think he's 38 games into his career. And we're seeing how those guys come together, you know, work. Damon Arnett, I mean, he's the old vet. I mean, he's a 5th-year senior. But when's the last time we had a guy stay in Columbus?
Not a lot of corners staying for 5 years.
So he has the most experience. I think with things being simplified, he's had a great spring. You know, he hasn't missed any practices. He's been there, you know, every day working, and I can see the growth and their teamwork and their camaraderie. So I'm excited.
Lots of growth, lots of excitement for Ohio State heading into that opener. Part of that excitement about that bullet position. A couple guys, Brendon White, he mentioned, maybe even Pete Warner there. We've got some film, and we've got Doss in the building to break it down. So let's roll the tape. All right, Mike, so much talk about Brendon White in this bullet position. It was more of, you know, a safety role for him back in your spot. So we have to kind of project a little bit, but this is the ball skills, an example of maybe what he can do when he drops back in coverage.
Absolutely. Here, he's playing center field safety for us. This will naturally be Jordan Fuller's position this year, but Brendon is athletic enough, you know, 6'1", 215 pounds, 4'5" guy. You put him in space, I think he can go attack the football and ultimately, you know, guard some tight ends and some running backs out the backfield. And when that ball's in the air, he'll be able to go up and make a play, as we see right here, cutting in front of the receiver, attacking the football, and making the Oski and trying to take it to the house.
Looked like some of that old wide receiver and offensive skill for him once he gets that football in his hands.
For sure. I think he got a little discombobulated here at the sideline, maybe a little hesitation or try to jump from 5 yards out.
But, he's unfamiliar. Maybe a couple more opportunities this year. And this was sort of in that Rose Bowl. He's playing a little bit closer to the line of scrimmage. And then so this might be a better example of what he might be doing this year, do you think?
I think so. So he's coming down in a rover, kind of bring that back a little bit. So he's coming down in kind of a rover, reading it, seeing the play develop. And once he sees the tight end out the backfield, he's committing to go make that play. And they probably schemed us up thinking that we got these guys in this defense that we don't have an answer for that. And he came down, made a great play, shot his gun. Here we go, making a nice open field tackle.
What's the challenge for maybe a safety when you start creeping up closer to the box and trying to find keys? What's the biggest challenge the closer you get to the line of scrimmage?
As you get closer, run, pass, read is the first thing, and then knowing where your key, who your eye is on. The big thing is he's coming down. Look, he's trusting. He see this guy. He's lined up on the right side of the defensive formation, but he's trying to run a slip, kind of slip screen behind the line of scrimmage to get open. And he kept his eyes on his key. Saw the quarterback roll out, and he just went and fired. Like I said, shot his gun, and it made a great open field tackle. If he misses that tackle, that's probably a game for a first down easily. Yeah,
you talked about that great finish he had there in the Rose Bowl. I think another reason why people are so excited, he does it again here. Made several big plays in this game, and it was almost hard to believe he wasn't on the field sooner, but he made the most of it here at the end of the year.
And that's what it's about. Ohio State is, we don't rebuild, we reload, and we have a lot of talent that we recruit. We recruit guys. Jeff Okudah, he's out of Texas. You got Sean Wade out of Florida. Brendon is the only Ohio, I think, DB actually playing. Jordan Fuller is out of New Jersey. Damon Arnett is out of Florida as well. So, we don't rebuild, we reload. And as you can see here, it's another type of play where he's allowing the play to develop. He sees his key. He communicates. It's a third down. Probably he's knowing, screen, draw on the initial coming to the line of scrimmage. And he's just waiting to watch it develop. And he goes, commits. And again, making a nice open field tackle for a stop here on third down.
Yeah, that's got to be huge. That's been emphasized throughout training camp. Ryan Day talked about that just the other day. Ohio State has to tackle well in the opener. You don't get preseason games. You have to go out there and do it. We threw in a couple other clips of Pete Werner here just because, Doss, that we've heard that this is kind of like an interchangeable position with Sam. So there might be times where Pete Werner's doing Brendon White things. There might be times that the vice versa is true there. So these might be responsibilities that a safety is having to make here, and what's the challenge of stopping something like this?
And as we see, we got a 3-by-1 setup. A little bit, we go back to the setup. We know that McShirley is a running style kind of quarterback. It's probably a third and short situation. So we're going to predetermine, even with this setup, they know that this running back is the lead blocker, and we got 1-for-1. And this guy has to go make a one-on-one tackle and make a play for us. And as we did, Malik came up and cleaned it up. But Warner he read his key, shot his gun, and went right into that gap to make an open field tackle.
All right, and then here's another example, maybe the most productive play of the year for Pete Werner in some respects, where he's got to do some of that safety work out against the tight end one-on-one. Big challenge, and he answers it in a game and in an opportunity where you got to have it in the rivalry.
Great. This is, as you can see, his eye control is good. He gets his hands on the receiver, and he runs, and he just plays through his eyes, and he never looks back for the ball. And he plays through his eyes. The tight end's eyes got very big and wide, and as he came through, he finished the play through the whistle, and made a play, getting that ball out of there, stripping the ball, and making a good tackle there in the end zone.
Do they feel different when you make them in the game?
Oh, it does. It's a lot of fun, man. Especially in this game. This is the biggest one of them all for the season until the bowl game. But we know making a play like that, impactful, it's probably changed change the momentum of the game. And making a stop there. I think after we had a turnover early there in that possession.
Also have that guy right there. So maybe they won't be on the field all that much together like they were a year ago, but Brendon White and Pete Werner, Ohio State looking for big things. New scheme, new bullet position. New Mike Doss bringing down the information for us right here at BuckIQ. Great to have him with us. I'm Austin Ward. We'll see you next week with some game footage to break down. See you then.